I would like to quickly point out that John the Mouse Video has a large selection of videos from North and South America for your viewing pleasure. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now let's get into the cheese of the matter. As the winter storm rages over the USA and puts its fierce hands over Texas, we find it's dumping ice and snow over everything it touches. As someone that lives in the Midwest, I have been without power many times over the years. The longest time being out I can remember was almost 8 days. Many times you'd have the wind blowing very strong with negative temperatures, bringing it down to 40 below to 60 below. And with that, any exposed skin, it can freeze in a matter of minutes. I might as well bring up what happened in Texas. They've had cold weather before. They've even had people freeze to death.
His temperature in 7 years.
You can see in her face was real blue.
This man called 911 when he saw the empty wheelchair of a woman known to frequent South Dallas. Over by Fair Park, a man's body was found around noon. Autopsies are being done on both to confirm if the cold killed them.
This time, the winter storm was stronger, bringing lots of ice and snow with it. A lot of people are blaming Texas for a lot of things over this storm. But I don't blame them for everything. I would like to know, when did it become the government's responsibility? What happened to becoming a grown-up and taking care of your own responsibility over your life? As many of you know that visit my other videos, I have looked into the past a lot over the years. I have come across many examples even before a state was a state. You would have a lawman in the territory that would be bad. People would rise up to fix it. Then years later, after they would become a state, they'd have to fix it again. And they would always say, it'll never happen again, but it always does. So let me get back to this green energy that the government wants to push. Just to be clear, that I am not against all wind turbines and solar panels. I think they have a place in our power grid, but we shouldn't be forced into it to become green. Like Obama said in the past.
The rigors of that market and the ratcheted down caps that are imposed every year. So if somebody wants to build a coal power plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them because they're going to be charged a huge sum for all that greenhouse gas that's being emitted.
Every time the government tries to regulate something, they always make it more expensive by jumping through hula hoops. Not every company can run through the course just to make it to the end. Even if you're a bigger company, you might not make it to the end. Just look at this person that killed a 10-year-long government process. It was passed to build a pipeline, but by a stroke of a pen, them 10 years and millions of dollars wasted. The big question is, at the end of the pipeline, or the government going to make the course 10 years longer? How many more people are going to freeze to death during that time? The people will suffer the most, will be old and poor. We keep hearing one person dying from a virus. It's too many. What about all the people that freeze to death every year? Making everyone use solar and wind isn't going to solve our problems. It's only going to make it worse for everyone. Let me point out a few things that people don't want to talk about. You have heard that the wind turbines have iced up in Texas and shut down. That happens in the Midwest all the time. You don't hear about it. If the ice storm is coming or ice fog, they will shut down the turbines from working. You may think that's when you need the power the most, and you're right. They need to shut them down to save the turbines from destroying themselves. They have had them come down even in slow wind without ice. In Iowa, they found an algorithm that helps turn the blades. It was off, and it helped destroy 3 wind turbines. They say it has been fixed, but can a hacker get in to destroy them later down the road? Over the years, you even have blades come off. How about fires that can destroy them? I don't think putting a ladder truck up next to the spinning turbine blades would be a good idea. How about all the cropland they use for every turbine? That's right, you have to have a road to every turbine so you can service them. You have a guy or gal climb to the top to service them when they need it. Solar panels, they waste a lot of land that was once cropland or had trees on it. They talk about we need to save the tropics, but let's cut down the trees to put up a solar farm. You also hear we can't feed the world, but let's cover more land with panels. I think we could put them in better locations that makes the best use of our land resources. Now, these solar panels are no better in the ice and snow. Anybody that tells you that they have no maintenance is a liar. When covered in ice and snow, they produce little to no power. Again, when you need it the most during a snowstorm. It is no good. It can be 3 days after the sun comes out before you're back up to full power, if you're lucky. I was talking to one person, and his neighbor put panels on his new machine shed. So then he would have power out there when he was working on his farm equipment. Turns out, most of the winter, it's covered with snow. So he ended up running service out to his shed because he wasn't going to get up on the roof to clean the solar panels. Do you think they send people out to these solar panel farms to clean them off after every snowstorm? How about fixing them when they're broken? Let me tell you, that is the last thing on their list. Power lines come first, unless you're in California. The only person that you can rely on is yourself. The people higher up on the chain will always point the finger instead of getting things done. By the time they get done pointing all their fingers, it'll be weeks later by the time they have a plan to start helping people. Then, you might not like their help. Remember what President Ronald Reagan said?
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
This will not be the last storm that causes freezing temperatures across 30 states in the USA. In the Midwest, we even had rolling outages just because we're all tied to the grid. Our power was getting sucked dry because of others' demand. This will get worse if we keep getting rid of all our dependable power plants. You already have California sucking large amounts of powers from their surrounding states when they need it the most. If we keep this up, we will turn into a third world nation. Last year, people should have realized that stores only have a limited supply of food. You can put some of that blame on the governments. They like to tax your inventory, like Texas. That's just one of the reasons why the United States only has a just-in-time delivery system. Growing up, most of the people I know always had a few weeks of food sitting around. I think it's just the mindset in the Midwest. As a storm rolls in, everyone makes sure that they have supplies at home and they have their tanks filled up in their cars. Just some things you pass down to your kids over the years. Some of the stuff you learn over the years, living on the farm, you would take all summer to fill up your deep freezer and eat from it all winter until you can start filling it back up again. I hope more people will become a little bit more dependent on themselves. And please, check on your neighbors to make sure they're okay. John the Mouse Travel Map is available for Google Maps. It will help plan your route to the locations of your favorite videos. It is free to use. I have the link below. Please visit the playlist tab for videos that I have sorted for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button